Encouraging news on the job market for San Diego. I'm Dwayne Brown. The newest unemployment numbers tonight on KPBS Evening Edition. And another round in the fight over the cross on Mount Soledad. We'll tell you what group the ACLU wants to take off the case.
And I'm Peggy Pico. Tonight on our weekly roundtable, we'll explain how two San Diego races, one for City Council and one for Congress, could tip the partisan scales. Also tonight, how some San Diego doctors and staff are reaching out to help the uninsured. And we'll give you a look at a chapel of memories created by a North County artist. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Unemployment continues to drop in San Diego County. Last month, the unemployment rate was 8.4%, down more than half a point from August. The new number is 1.5 points lower than September 2011. There was even a 3-point drop in the Imperial Valley. It still has California's highest unemployment rate at 28.5%. Now, statewide, the number of people filing for unemployment is 10.2%. That's down nearly half a point from August. State officials say the numbers are preliminary, but so far it looks like the biggest single-month drop in unemployment in California in 36 years. Gas prices are starting to fall a little bit faster. The average down about 4 cents overnight. In the past 11 days, the average has dropped 20 cents after skyrocketing nearly 55 cents at the start of the month. The Auto Club says prices are dropping on the wholesale market, and if the trend holds, prices at the pump should fall below $4 a gallon. The fight over the Mount Soledad cross was back in court today. The American Civil Liberties Union wants a veterans group taken out of talks about how the cross should be modified. The change was ordered by a federal court after ruling the cross on federal land was unconstitutional. The Mount Soledad Memorial Association put the cross up in 1954 and maintains it, but the ACLU says the group doesn't own the cross and shouldn't be involved in the talks. The judge in today's hearing says he's inclined to reject the ACLU's request. He says he will issue his ruling soon. The polls are tightening over Proposition 37, a state ballot measure to require labeling of genetically modified food. And when a race gets close, the campaigning often gets nasty. KPBS reporter Claire Trageser is in the newsroom to tell us about the latest development. So, Claire, is this right? The yes side attacking its opponents over a campaign mailer?
Yes, that's right. The No campaign sent out a mailer that included a quote they said was from the FDA, calling the labeling of genetically modified food inherently misleading. I spoke with the FDA, and they said they never made this statement about Prop 37. Now the No side points to a 2009 report to the United Nations that contains this inherently misleading quote. A spokeswoman for the No campaign called the Yes side's attack desperate and without merit.
And what do the supporters of genetically modified food labeling have to say about it?
Well, the political director of the Yes campaign said this mailer is one of many deceiving things the No side has done. The Yes side also says the fact that the mailer contains the FDA's official seal is actually a criminal offense because you can't fraudulently use the seal of a government agency. They've sent a letter to the Department of Justice asking for a criminal investigation.
And do we know if any investigation is underway?
Well, the calls I put into the Department of Justice and the San Diego U.S. Attorney's Office have not been returned, but it does not seem likely the Justice Department will pursue this.
KPBS reporter Claire Trageser. There are also questions tonight about an $11 million contribution to a super PAC campaigning against Governor Jerry Brown's tax proposal. The money came from an Arizona group called Americans for Responsible Leadership. California Common Cause has asked the State Fair Political Practices Commission to investigate to find out who's behind the donation. The super PAC receiving the money says Common Cause has no evidence. Proposition 35 would impose stiffer penalties and fines for people convicted of human and sex trafficking. The proposition has broad-based support, but KPBS reporter Adrian Florido tells us there are also concerns Prop 35 could have some unintended consequences.
3 months ago, 23-year-old Jordan arrived at Generate Hope, a San Diego home for victims of sex trafficking. She's recovering now from almost 6 years of forced prostitution on the streets of Northern California. But she still remembers the moment things went wrong. She was looking for a job, and a friend introduced her to a man who said he could help. A man she's still afraid of, which is why she's asked us to only use her first name.
He said, I got some work for you to do, and so I think going with him thinking it was just, I don't know, going to be some little chores or whatever, it ended up where he was like, you know, I need you to go on the corner and you're going to be making this quota for me, and you're going to do it or I'm going to hurt you. I mean, that's how he kept me in line, was making threats and beating me up and raping me, that it made where I was too scared to leave. And I was 18 the first time that I had turned my first trick with somebody, and it was a trap ever since, something I felt like I couldn't get out of.
Stories like Jordan's are the reason behind Proposition 35 on the November ballot. The proposition would impose tougher penalties on human traffickers, those who force people into sex work or other forced labor for their own financial gain. If passed, Prop 35 would increase prison terms for trafficking from 5 to 8 years to 12 years to life. And it would also increase fines for convicted traffickers from $100,000 to up to $1.5 million, money that would go to fund programs that help trafficking victims recover. The proposition would also classify the production of child pornography as sex trafficking, and it would require convicted sex traffickers to register as sex offenders. The proposition has broad support among law enforcement officials, Democrats and Republicans, and many victims' advocacy groups across the state.
It's a heinous crime. It's horrible what happens to the girls. It changes their lives in ways that they're very difficult to heal from.
Susan Muncy is the director of Generate Hope, the victim's home where 23-year-old Jordan is recovering.
There are 3 cities in California that have already been identified by the FBI as high-intensity areas for commercial sexual exploitation of children, and San Diego being one of those. I think this initiative can move us in the other direction and really put some teeth into the laws.
Prop 35's chief architect is a Bay Area victims advocate named Daphne Fung, and its main funder is former Facebook executive Chris Kelly. He's donated nearly $2 million to the Yes on 35 campaign. The proposition has little organized opposition, but some attorneys, advocates, and researchers say it is flawed. Stephen Munkelt is a defense attorney who testified in Sacramento.
Sometimes just punishment, just imposing penalties, isn't the most effective way to address a problem.
Amy Carpenter is a University of San Diego professor who researches human trafficking, and she agrees.
It's based on a presumption that more arrests and stiffer penalties are going to decrease the level of trafficking. What we've found in San Diego works is a comprehensive approach where you have law enforcement and you have trained law enforcement, which Prop 35 provides for, but you also have victim services providers at the table, you have community members.
Major newspapers, including the LA Times, have opposed Prop 35, saying current penalties for trafficking are sufficient. Even San Diego District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis has concerns, saying Prop 35 could actually make it harder to save victims from their pimps. The proposition would no longer allow prosecution of people forced into prostitution, but some prosecutors say that's sometimes the only way to free them from their pimps and get them help. But Brian Marvel, president of the San Diego Police Officers Union, says Prop 35 would help victims by requiring police officers to get training on how to identify them.
So this is just really on the cusp of opening it up and giving the officers the education so they can more easily identify that this is a human trafficking victim.
Jordan says the proposition would help her in one more way. She eventually wants to press charges against her pimp, but says many young women like her are afraid to because they fear revenge when the prison term is over.
At least with my pimp, like, you know, if I had reported him, he's going to know it was me.
Adrian Florido reporting. Opponents of Prop 35 say if victim safety is a concern, pimps could be prosecuted for trafficking under federal law, which already allows much longer sentences. Recent polls show San Diego City Council race and the 52nd District race for Congress are too close to call. In our weekly roundtable, Peggy Pico explains how the races could determine the partisan majority in the city and state.
The winner of San Diego City Council District 1 race will determine if the council majority is Democratic or Republican. And there's an intense race for the seat in the 52nd Congressional District. Here to talk about the impact of these critical races is my guest, Michael Smolens, government editor at UT San Diego. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
Michael, let's start local. For those who don't live in District 1, where is it? And give us kind of a thumbnail sketch of the two candidates.
It's actually sort of a coastal district. It runs from Carmel Valley down through La Jolla, includes the Torrey Pines area, and over to University City. The incumbent is Sherri Lightner, a Democrat. She's an engineer by training and a small business owner. And her challenger is Ellis, a Republican, former member of the San Diego City Pension Board, and he's also a small business owner. As you mentioned, this race, while it's a district race, it has taken on kind of an outsized importance of, the balance of the city council.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. One of the reasons is because this could sway a vote in the city council, especially when it comes to the strong mayor's race. Tell us how that would work.
Well, first of all, both candidates, Ray Ellis is a Republican, Sherri Lightner, Democrat. They're really downplaying those partisan ties. They say it's a nonpartisan race, and so they're not stressing that. But, partisan politics has a big play in the city council. And as you pointed out, it would be a 5-4 majority one way or another. So that would help, one side or the other, if they're on the same page on certain issues, get legislation through. Now, with the strong mayor, the new strong mayor, now we will have, for the first time, 9 districts. The difference is that he's got stronger protections against a veto override. If he vetoes something that comes through for a 5-4 vote, they're going to need 6 votes to override it. Right now, they don't need that. They only need a simple majority to override it. So that really strengthens the mayor's hand quite a bit.
Yeah, it could certainly change the outcome of a couple of votes, especially after a veto.
Exactly, because they don't need a super majority now to override a veto, just basically the vote that passed the legislation out.
Absolutely. Sherri Lightner, how is she positioning herself in this campaign? Because I know she's hasn't been completely 100% embraced by some of the labor organizations.
Well, she was opposed in the primary by labor. They have several issues that they disagree with her on, particularly the Proposition B pension overhaul that voters approved in June. She supported that kind of late in the game. She said she wanted to wait and see the fiscal analysis of that. Ray Ellis was on board early on and sort of criticized her as a Johnny-come-lately, waiting to see which way the winds blow. So, as we know, that labor was very opposed to that, and so that was one of the key things that angered them about her.
And what about Ray Ellis? How's he positioning himself on a few key issues?
Well, the difference between the two, Ray Ellis is sort of talking more about citywide issues. I'm the guy to help, implement the pension reforms. Whereas Sherri Lightner says, hey, I'm big on citywide issues as well, but she really knows the district well, and so she's trying to use that as an advantage. She's been there for years. She's been on councils and boards before she got to the city council, and she's probably better known among the sort of community groups. But Ray Ellis did get more votes in the primary, so we'll have to see.
Okay, I interviewed Congressman Brian Bilbray and Port Commissioner Scott Peters earlier this week. Each of them told me or tried to position themselves as moderates. What, in your research, what have you seen? Are they truly each a moderate?
Well, what they're doing is that they're catering themselves to the new district. A little background, Brian Bilbray's current district is more North County centric. It's got about a 10% Republican voter registration advantage. The new district kind of shifts south a bit, and it's only a 3% voter registration advantage for Republicans. So he, needs to take that into account, and you just don't see him talking about immigration as much. He was very hardliner on illegal immigration.
He was a lobbyist for the...
Correct, yes. And so he's talking about his environmental record and things like that. Stuff he always did. But so he's, kind of changing his tone a little bit. Scott Peters is also doing kind of the moderate push, saying, hey, I was on the nonpartisan city council. I'm on the Port Commission, and I can work across the aisle to bring people together, which Brian Bilbray says, wait till you get to Congress. It's hard to walk across the aisle and make deals.
But they both need to say that because of the different makeup in the new district.
Well, sure. And one thing to keep in mind, we talk about the Republican or Democratic voter registration advantage. There's a huge number of independents or declined estates, technically. I don't know if it's about a third, but throughout San Diego County, that's just been a huge growth in those folks who just don't really want to be part of either party. So trying to appeal to them is, sort of down that middle path that they go, which, from the primaries, you got to be more partisan to get through the primary, but then, you kind of shift to the middle, which is sort of the tradition on every race.
What did you have to do? 300,000, by the way, independent voters, which seemed large for me, but as you said, a fast-growing group. How important is the Bilbray and Peters race to control Congress?
Well, there's doubts whether the Democrats can actually take over. They sort of seem to have an outside chance, I think most analysts are saying. But this is a race that's taken on national importance. It's on the national chessboard. Both major political parties are dumping tons of money into this. The national parties, outside PACs are spending, there's millions of dollars at stake here. So in a lot of cases, we see incumbents glide through fairly easy in San Diego. This is, like I said, one of the key races. I think it's been rated as one of the top 10 most contested races in the country.
Yeah, and it's being watched. We are out of time. UT government editor Michael Smullins, thanks so much for talking.
Thanks for having me on, Peggy.
As you get ready to cast your ballot, check out the KPBS voter guide. It breaks down the big races and measures into clear language with links to our stories and candidate bios. You can even take it to the polls on your smartphone. You can find the KPBS voter guide on our website at kpbs.org/voterguide. And tonight on KPBS, we will present a one-hour Envision special on the upcoming election. My Ballot looks at the races and issues from San Diego mayor to the death penalty to the latest fight over medical marijuana. Join Joanne Farian for My Ballot tonight at 8.
I'm Margaret Warner. On the next news hour, the presidential candidates meet for their final debate, this one on foreign policy. That's Monday on the PBS NewsHour.
It's estimated 1 in 4 adults in San Diego County have no health insurance coverage. Since its start in 2009, Project Access San Diego has helped over 1,800 uninsured patients with free access to specialty care, including expensive knee surgery. Victor Garcia is getting support from his soccer buddies and is just hours away from repairing a torn ACL in his right knee.
No, I'm not going to give up.
He's talking about playing soccer, the same thing that blew his knee out twice in the past year.
So now my knee is unstable. When I do a cut or something, my knee will go off to the side and pop.
That was a year ago, and Garcia had almost given up hope until he heard Project Access San Diego would pay the costs to repair it.
Talking about $30,000 with including therapy, medicine, surgery.
Garcia represents the 1 out of 4 adults in San Diego County who are uninsured. And tomorrow, he will join nearly 3 dozen others in Kearny Mesa for Saturday Surgery Day. It's a partnership between the San Diego County Medical Society Foundation and various hospitals, including Kaiser Permanente.
It's about hope. It's about reaching out to people in San Diego that are in pain, that could possibly die of cancer, that have deformities that they've had to live with.
Dr. Paul Bernstein is a head and neck specialist who helped remove a large growth from Simon John's forehead. John was unemployed, without health insurance, and had no means to pay for such an expensive procedure.
It's frustrating. You just have to live with the condition when you can't get any help from anyone. There's nothing you can do, you just wait until you're able to get insurance again.
John, like 1,800 other San Diego patients, was eventually recommended to Project Access San Diego. Today, the growth is gone, and he's back to work. The majority of the uninsured patients only need to see a specialist, but about 20% need surgery. Tomorrow, more than 100 staff and doctors at this Kaiser facility will volunteer to provide free care to 35 San Diegans who've been hoping and waiting for some much-needed relief. And Saturday marks the 10th surgery day at Kaiser since Project Access started in 2009. The event is put on 2 or 3 times a year. To qualify, you must live in the county, be low income, and ineligible for public health programs. More cloudy weather ahead for the weekend, and there's even a slight chance of rain Saturday and Sunday. Here's a look at the forecast.
In tonight's Public Square, our report on San Diego's housing market ranking the third least affordable city in the nation behind San Francisco and New York City generated a variety of questions on our website. The first home affordability survey by Interest.com based the ranking on several factors, including home values, income, taxes, and HOA fees. But web user Cage asked why we only do stories about homeowners, explaining rent is outrageous here, $1,200 for a one-bedroom, and don't even get me started if you're a pet owner. Philosopher 3000 pointed out it's not only a housing issue. He wrote, I went to Cincinnati, Ohio last weekend, and the homes there cost $100,000. Plenty of water, no fires, no earthquakes. Why does any company stay in San Diego? Meanwhile, Ben72 responded with his own Q&A. Is nice weather worth a 5 times cost premium in houses? Apparently, the answer to that is yes. You can join in on this conversation or comment on any KPBS story by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, or email us at publicsquare@kpbs.org.
Many of us have a room in the house we grew up in that's special to us. Just thinking of it can stir memories. That human connection to an actual building is the basis for an artist's installation in Encinitas. KPBS arts reporter Angela Carone takes us there to meet the man building a chapel to memory.
This building sits on a bluff in Encinitas, overlooking the Lux Art Institute. It hasn't been there long, and it was built by one man, artist Wes Bruce.
Just for the sake of really connecting with the ideas and the space itself, I chose to build most of it kind of with my own time and hands and thought.
It might not look like much now, but in a week it will be transformed into a chapel of memories. Some of them are Bruce's memories. Others he's collected through letters and stories from strangers. He's asked people to tell him about the buildings that mean something to them.
Everyone has a different relationship with the buildings that might be in their life, whether it's the house you grew up in, the place that you work at, the place where you went to school, some place that you worship in, some place that you just dread going to every day. There's all kinds of different scenarios that people have a connection with a building, but it's the experiences of human beings I'm interested in, as plain and simply as any given day might be.
For Bruce, buildings spark memories. They capture moments in time that he would like to preserve.
On Saturday night, I would sleep in late and wake to hear the sound of the lawnmower. We had a huge, big green lawn, so my dad would be out there riding the lawnmower. The smell of the grass would drift up to my open window.
Bruce has turned all these memories into imagined journal entries.
They place a moment in somebody's life in front of you, and it's a pretty moving thing to read somebody's journal or read somebody's diary or to be told this really huge piece of personal information.
He writes the journal entries on paper he's found and collected all over the country.
It's been a slow collection process where I'll find a stack here or an old kind of dilapidated notebook here, or I'm given a lot of old pages as well that people have found, or if I'm just even cruising downtown and I find a piece that's been outside and been weathered, I'll take that and do a writing or do a drawing on it.
It all started with abandoned buildings. Bruce has been seeking them out for years. In 2010, he built a 2,000-square-foot fort in the California Center for the Arts in Escondido. In it were hundreds of objects he's collected from abandoned homes.
It's a really different sensation. It's really personal, because normally you wouldn't have access to a stranger's home, and most of the houses that I've been into and have gathered from are set to be destroyed and demolished. And so it's this end of a story. It's the end of a narrative, and I'm really interested at the beginnings and endings of narratives in story.
The building at Lux was inspired by an abandoned church Bruce found on Highway 80 in Nebraska.
And it had beautiful, high-arching kind of Gothic style stained glass windows that at this point are all entirely blown out. They're broken and it's on the floor. All the pews are still in this church, but they're all crooked and askew. The organ is still up front, and when you enter into this just doorless, broken church, it looks like that organ could start playing at any second because the keys are all still in place. It's where the organist left it. I'd never been to a space that I knew, without a doubt, had been like a sacred, spiritual, worshipful place.
All of those stories and thoughts that Bruce transferred to paper will be hung in this building over the next week.
Pages on strings that are everywhere in the ceiling. It's going to be kind of manic, just like pages everywhere, like tons and tons and tons and tons of paper.
He's also collected photographs. People give him old photos, and he finds them in abandoned homes. Bruce also takes a photograph every day and collects them on his website. The old and new photographs will hang in the building alongside all of the paper memories.
To have those things just kind of rub up against each other, it feels like there's some sort of like poetic magic that happens, like object to object.
And in the end, that's what it's really about for Bruce, capturing the poetry. He sees it everywhere, in abandoned buildings, on street corners, and scraps of paper, and especially in people's memories.
I have a strong belief that there's poetry just soaked and saturated into anything and everything if you allow it to be drawn out.
Angela Carone reporting. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us. You have a great weekend.